Pretty much, this is how all the trips start. Oh yeah, oh yeah. 195.
Close your eyes and imagine you're out in space. You're playing hide and seek with a bunch of midgets. That's your happy place.
Well, skateboarding kind of went hand in hand with certain types of music. And skaters really didn't give a shit, because we would listen to whatever we liked. And I mean, back in the early to mid 80s, you know, 82, 3, 4, you know, bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers, no one had heard of them. The only people that knew of Red Hot Chili Peppers were skateboarders, man. You know, if you ever saw the movie Thrashin', I mean, you know, Black Eyed Blonde and that, I mean, people were going crazy. That was a whole different thing. But, you know, the punk rock scene at that point with the Minor Threat and the scene in DC and all, the Discord shit all going on down there and all, everything was kind of affiliated with skateboard. I mean, for instance, you know, one Christmas my parents gave me, I asked for, this is when, you know, you would get a VHS tape for Christmas, and that was the only way you were, like, there wasn't the internet, so we'd wait to get this VHS tape, the next Bones Brigade, Future Primitive, the Bones Brigade video show, Search for Animal Chin. I mean, when that shit came out, it was the shit. And when, as far as music ties into that, the music that was in these skate videos was mind-blowing. Mick Rad, you know, Chuck Treese, I mean, and those guys, I mean, they were in Band This. That was incredible. But to me, one of the rad things was Thrasher used to put out a DVD, a VHS, called Thrasher Skate Rock, Volume 1, 2, 3, and every time, man, that would come out, I'd want to get the next one. And I remember specifically for Christmas one morning getting this Thrasher Skate Rock VHS tape, and you know, the culture at that point was incredible.
See, I'm not a professional. 29 years to get my first tattoo. Actually, no, I wanted
Catonsville had a weird, unique twist. We were from all different sizes, shapes, riches, and poors, but we all kind of hung together. The music, punk rock, and the skateboarders kind of hung together.
I show to the world, you can break my mind. Give me the plan, then I'll raise it. I've sung all around till I start to shine. Kick what you make on credit. Down to me, it's way past due. It's gonna get wild in a minute. It's about time that I blew my fuse.
I started from my older brother, obviously. I did everything he did, had to. And to be able to hang with him and he was 4 years older, I had to be good or die trying. So that just set me on a different scale than most people, I guess. And I lived in the city, and I didn't have any money, so I get home from school, I could step right out my house into the city, and then I'd always catch the number 8 bus up to Catonsville. Skate all the places in Catonsville, Jay Montgomery's, Todd Chambers, Steve Leach's old quarter pipe on Bloomsbury, I believe it was, or Ingleside. Spent hours and hours there. There was the bank walls that sucked behind 828, but it was good because you would get alcohol, so, you know.
We were going house to house, friend to friend parties, you know. You had your skateboard with you everywhere you went. Nowadays, you know, I leave the house, I check phone, wallet, keys. Back then it was like, do I have a house key and where's my skateboard? And it really was that simple over time.
Skateboard scene, it wasn't like it was today. It was real hard. We'd have to travel hours to get to any ramp or try to, I guess, get up enough money for one of us to build a ramp. We'd all pitch in. And then wherever there's a ramp, usually there's enough people that like to listen to music, and maybe we'd have a show at a ramp. There was only a few big ramps, like Chesapeake ramps, that would have full-fledged shows.
For alcoholism and all that, and now he's back, and I you know, I've had the good fortune of going to Fish Lips with him and another friend who skates great, Matt Dove, and me and old friend Andy Meisold came back from Montana to be a good friend of the Catonsville scene, came back, and we just, you know, we get to see him online, you know, because we're friends. Of course, we see him blast off on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, but going to see him once in a while and seeing these guys, all of a sudden they're ageless. They're absolutely ageless, doing skateboard runs like they're 18 years old. It's just, I can't even, he's probably gonna say I'm kissing ass or something, but I love you, Derek. But he, I marvel at it. I mean, he probably marvels at our talents too, you know, you playing bass and guitar and drawing and painting and all that type of stuff. So just making a point that that the respect is mutual by far.
Recently shot a documentary or a little yeah, he just did a YouTube thing about him growing up here and then him skating, and when he skated there originally when it was open, and then again 2 years ago before they jackhammered it, he's doing tricks in the dip.
Cascade was probably a big one.
He always had a boombox, he always had like a handful of cassettes, and like on our ramp it was GBH Charged, Circle Jerks Wild in the Streets, Minor Threat, the first tape.
But then I really got into skateboarding, and the whole skateboarding scene led to this whole genre of other music. You know, I remember my brother bringing a cassette tape home. You know, it's this band, it was called Minor Threat. And then he's showing me some other stuff, Dead Kennedys, Black Flag. We started getting some of that stuff on vinyl.
When I see all the things they don't, I really can't help but feel the feeling.
Anyway, like, Derek is more of a spectacular, dazzling, very technical vert skater. He's very good, and Cabbage does blast airs, and he went on tour all over the world, you know what I mean? But then he found a real niche. And even when I was away, when I was in college, I still knew that he was traveling around the world. He hit a hardcore niche with the longboarding. He could grab those, like, you know, he graduated to the longboard and got sponsored. God knows he probably had several sponsors. Was getting taken to Japan and everywhere else, and just having the time of his life. So just killing it, you know what I mean? Full on Cabbage.
Weird blend. We all went to St. Joe, but St. Joe isn't what held us together. For sure, it was all of us and our vibes. We had punk rock, and nobody was really judged, you know, like our group. I mean, I was friends with Jock, I was friends with everybody, and I remember going to the Black Crew in the corner and getting mixtapes of Run DMC and stuff, you know. I think that everyone at that point, 85, 86, 84, that whole lower 80s, there was a lot of aggression going around, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of changes in our world. We were growing up. We're going to an all-Catholic boys' school. And I think skateboarding and the aggressive music and the fact that you guys were already musicians, it's kind of, again, goes back to that art flow. You got Ian Herrick too, you know, you can't rule out that. So like the art and the music and the skateboarders, it just was natural. I think it was meant to be. I think that we all have the same, whatever side of the brain that is. I can't draw for shit and I can't play an instrument.
Still blows my mind, or maybe it's him and Cabbage, or both of them, but they'll put up with these old videos and I can't even believe it's Cabbage, because you know we're old guys now, you know what I mean, and I see Cabbage and I'm looking at him just shredding, you know, some park somewhere, you know, and just and hitting pretty big airs, you know, doing sweepers and all these things where, you know, you use your foot to blast off and get like a good couple of feet of air above and just landing it smooth and going back in and doing more tricks that I can't remember the name of, you know. That's always like my MO. It's just like I'm the guy who's there. They're like, Ian's with us, but he doesn't know what the fuck anything's called, you know. But those guys, man, just like, I love the way they're so good at what they do, but just couldn't be bigger. And best friends who grew up one block from one another in Irvington, right by St. Joe, couldn't wait to move their parents out of there years later, you know what I mean? But just like some of my favorite guys, man.
Skateboarding, punk rock music, and you guys having shows, it gave everyone an opportunity to get out and go. And Josh Bolton's house, he'd have quarter pipes in his driveway. Todd Chambers had a quarter pipe and a ramp in his driveway. So when there were weekend parties, you guys would play. We would catch the number 8 bus out. I would, with Cabbage, you know what I mean, or whatever, even before. But I think it just was meant to be at that point. Skateboarding was more aggressive. It got X Games and all, that's a whole other chapter in the skateboard side of things. But as far as those early years, going to Loft, punk rock, catching a ride down the city, sparing change, you know, to get into a show, sneaking into shows, pitching in for a 6-pack of Meister Bra, whatever it was. We all were kind of meant to be. And there were people that jumped in and out, but there was a core of us that were pretty solid all through high school and before high school, kind of, you know? You all were good musicians, but it wasn't like, that's the one thing I want to say. I've traveled the world, I've done a lot of shit, I've seen a lot of music and all. I will say that, like, not being a musician, there were a lot of good musicians from Catonsville that did creative stuff. You guys had multiple bands, Evie and those guys, and it wasn't shit. Like, a lot of it was, like, good stuff. You guys would play real shows and stuff like that. So it might have started in, like, a Rising Weber basement or Josh's basement, but it ended, like, it didn't end, but you know, you guys moved where you're supposed to because you had skills.
him and Makai, I think, talked about like he really appreciated skateboarding and skateboarders because they saw something and saw it as something else, like a repurposed. And we would recycle, and that's where he got his DIY mentality through skateboarders, because we DIY everything. Perfect example. I hand dug this pool by myself.
Alright, over there I'm going to do a switch front side finger flip boneless. Blownless. I'm going to blow it out. It's going to be blownless. Front side switch, finger flip boneless. Over there.
Cabbage. He's like a brother to me. He's not even my boy. He's like my little big brother kind of thing. You know what I mean? He pretty much lived with us for a long time. He's part of our family. I love him. He is character. And we have been through some shit together. Oh, yeah. He introduced me to my wife. Yeah, did a lot of good shit for me, did a lot of sketchy shit for me. Stinks sometimes. You know, I've had to tell him that he couldn't get in my car until he took a shower after being on the road with me multiple times. Like, nah, dude, we got an 8-hour ride home. Take a shower, or you're not going, you know? Yeah, that's my man Cabbage. But I wouldn't trade him for the world.